What is up, everybody? Cliff Ravenscraft here with another post-workout reflection from the front seat. I'm sitting here in the parking lot of Planet Fitness, and no, this is not a sponsored post by Planet Fitness, but I'm sitting here in the front seat thinking about a new topic that I want to share with you today, and that is building a business based upon loving and serving others. That is essentially why I chose to go in business. Before the idea or dream or thought of ever creating my own business, I was in insurance. I was an insurance agent for 12 years of my life. And I worked in my family-owned insurance agency. My dad and my mom owned the insurance agency, took it over from my grandfather. I've been in the family since 1930 some odd something. And I was next in line to take over. But before they even hired me to join the family business, they tried to talk me into it, and I'm like, listen, I'm really not interested in working in insurance. And they said, oh, come on, we need you for your computer expertise, and they wanted to hire me to set up their computers and stuff like that, and I said, okay. So they got me in on that. But I'm thankful. I spent an incredible 11 years gaining skills of sales and marketing. The amount of sales training that I had over the years has been extremely beneficial to helping me serve people the way that I serve them today. Not to mention the people skills that I got from customer service from all those years, how to make people happy, how to take people's challenging problems and find creative solutions for how to get them what they want, you know. And I have since learned that one of the ways that you create success in your own life is by helping enough other people get what they want out of life. That's how you get anything you want out of life. That's what, I think it's Zig Ziglar that said that. Anyway, but before I started working for my mom and dad, I had this dream, this vision of devoting my life full time to ministry. I wanted to be a pastor, if you will. I wanted to actually pastor a very large church so that I could have a very powerful, profound, and positive impact in people's lives, helping them to become all that God created them to be. I knew that from my early adulthood that my mission in life could be summed up in one phrase: encouraging others through Christ. All right? Encouraging others through Christ. In fact, if you look on my Instagram profile, if you look on my Twitter profile, if you look at my YouTube little blurb, it's youtube.com/CliffEOTC. And that stands for Cliff, encouraging others through Christ. Ever since there was online stuff, I've had this ID of EOTC, encouraging others through Christ. Now, the thing is that was my vision of the future. That was my dream. And when my mom and dad asked me to come work for them, I said, listen, I'll come work for you in the insurance agency, but just know this, you have to agree to one stipulation. If I'm ever offered the opportunity to do ministry full time, regardless of how much money or how little money I would be making compared to what I'm making with you in the insurance agency, you have to be okay with me making that decision to go pursue that path in my life, because I know for a fact that's what I'm called to do. And they agreed to that stipulation. So I began to start working for them, and I'm not going to go into a whole faith journey here. That would be a vlog for another time, another place. And who knows, maybe if I get enough of you who want to hear that story, leave me a comment somewhere here on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you might be watching this, or send me an email, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. If I get enough requests, maybe I'll sit down and tell you that story. It could be a long one though. And if you're going to tell me to share my faith journey, then you have to give me permission to let that thing be as long as it needs to be, because it could be in excess of an hour and a half. I could probably pare it down, but trust me, there's a reason why I'm not going into it right now. But anyway, that's what I knew. I had a desire for encouraging others. And that's what I wanted to devote my life to, is encouraging others. And what does that mean? Encouraging them to step out in faith and do what they were put on this earth to do, to encourage others to not suffer with all the things that hold you down, that weigh you down. I want to encourage others to not be a victim in life, but to be a player, to say life doesn't happen to me, it can happen for me. I wanted to encourage people that, yes, I know you are faced with many challenges, but can you, instead of focusing on the challenges that you have, and instead of focusing on that, I want to encourage you to focus on the opportunities that exist for you. That has always been my goal. It's always been my mission in life. And I felt, for whatever reason, that the only way that I could ever make a living doing that would be through professional, traditional, institutionalized ministry in the role of a pastor. I've since changed my mind on that, as you might imagine. And in fact, I realized through insurance and basically getting licensed and starting selling life and health insurance and selling auto and home and business insurance, seeing how I was serving people and how I was able to educate many of those people. And certainly there were people who had come to me to file claims that were experiencing very tragic events in their life. I mean, loss of personal property, which, may seem sort of like superficial to some, but man, you lose your home to a complete total fire loss and all of your memories and belongings. That's a very devastating thing. And so working with those people gave me an opportunity to come alongside them and empathize with them and encourage them. And then there was, certainly other loss of life. I've dealt with that, tragic car accidents, claims on life insurance policies, people who died of horrible stuff, and so I had an opportunity, and I thought for a long time, wow, I thought that the only way I could do what I feel called to do in life, which is to encourage others, and I since discovered it was not just encourage others, but it was educating people, encouraging, inspiring, motivating people, helping people, serving people. For a long time, I became convinced that, wait a second, God's given me that opportunity through being an insurance agent. And I felt like, wow, maybe I won't pursue this pastor position. Maybe I can. Let me just check to see who's coming through here. Anyway, it's a Fort Wright police officer. I think he's just driving through the parking lot. I wonder if he's going to wonder, who's this guy sitting there in his front seat talking to himself? It doesn't matter. So anyway, I felt like this was where I was serving in life, and I was being extremely well paid to do it. As an insurance agent, I was very successful in what I was doing, had lots of clients. My clients loved me, lots of word of mouth, and it was seemingly the perfect life until I discovered podcasting, which was a hobby. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a perfect, happy life. There was lots of stress. There was the element of working with family, which, our family put the fun and dysfunctional sometimes. Every family has their own little issues, but it was challenging to work with family from time to time. There were challenging dynamics in the number of people who worked there versus the number of clients, and that became a challenge at times. And it was extremely excruciatingly stressful at times. But I've always lived by this motto. Even before I actually knew the motto, I was like, I don't need easy, I need worth it. I got that work ethic from my dad. I'm very thankful for that. So I dealt with it, but that was until I discovered podcasting, this hobby, which started out as kind of an escape from all the stress that came along with the day job. It was an opportunity for me to do something that I really genuinely loved. And it started with entertaining people. And it was all about entertainment. It started out with this Lost podcast. And then what I realized is like, wow, I found that encouraging others was certainly something. Serving others is helping them. Inspiring, educating others. But then I learned that there's something within me that also wants to entertain people. That I feel called in a way to use my voice to create content, whether it be audio, video, whatever the case may be. That if I speak, I found that people listened, and when I'm doing that, I'm entertaining them, I'm keeping them company, I'm occupying their mind, but that entertainment is filled with hope. And hope is where all things thrive. And through entertaining others, I create an environment of hope that benefits people's lives. And the content that I'm creating is also educational. I have the ability to teach certain things. And so I love that aspect of what I'm doing through podcasting. And I'm also having an opportunity to come along and encourage people, because what I found through this entertaining content that I was creating and this encouraging content, people were coming to me and seeking advice. And I found that, man, I thought insurance allowed me to serve others, to encourage others, to come alongside and use the gifts and the things that I felt like I was put on this earth to do. But what I realized is the opportunity that existed for me creating content online through podcasts and video. I've been using YouTube ever since YouTube was before YouTube was purchased by Google. And it's just, I've always been drawn to creating content. It goes back to even before there was a thing known as blogging. I taught myself HTML, and I was creating content through hand-coded HTML files on the internet. And I always have been drawn to creating content. And then when I discovered podcasting, it opened me up to this worldwide audience, and I had the opportunity not to reach just a couple hundred clients or a couple thousand clients in my insurance office, all geographically located in either northern Kentucky or the southern parts of Indiana or Ohio. But wow, I had an opportunity to use my gifts and talents, my desire to create content and do what I feel most called to do in this world, and have a powerful, positive, and profound impact in people's lives through creating content that is going to be able to reach anybody on this planet with an internet connection, and then to actually reach people from all over the globe and hear how that content is really encouraging and inspiring people, and allowing me to love and serve others at a capacity that doesn't exist for me anywhere else. So think about this. I thought when I was being offered this career as an insurance agent that it would reduce my ability to love and serve others beyond that of being a pastor. And of course, in my upbringing, a large church was, 200 people until I eventually went to another church. And then I was a part of a church with, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people attending on the weekends. And then, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's my goal, is to become a pastor of one of those mega churches. But then I saw all of the politics involved in that. And I'm like, it's just like, I do not feel called to that. And I'm already in this insurance job. And so I eventually transitioned and said, okay, the best fit that seems to be for me to be able to live out this idea of loving and serving others is through this career as an insurance agent. How I'm having such a deep and profound and positive impact in people's lives through the products and services of insurance. And I truly, authentically believe that. And I still believe that today. That is a wonderful way to love and serve others. And it is a way to get paid well to do it. But then podcasting came. And yes, I created these entertainment-based podcasts, and then people started asking me to teach them how I was doing it. They offered to pay me. And that was actually encouraging, educating them to put their voice out into the world, creating content that has powerful impact in their lives. And then I realized, like, whoa, this is a way to love and serve others. I could create an entire business of my own. And I saw the promise, or no, not the promise. I saw the possibility, not the promise. I saw the possibility of serving way more people. And I also saw the possibility of even greater profitability. Profitability meaning generating more income that would allow me to have more financial margin in my life, well beyond that of an insurance agent. Although I will tell you, if I wouldn't have left the insurance world, my dad has since sold the insurance agency. Had I not left, I would own that agency right now, and I'd be making several $1 million a year. And so that would have been a very profitable thing. But I can tell you right now, I would have never made it. I honestly do not believe that. I wasn't put on this earth to own an insurance agency. I was not put on this earth to pastor a traditional institutionalized church. It's very clear to me. There is no way on earth I would have ever lived a fulfilled life as a church pastor or the owner of my own insurance agency. My heart was not genuinely, authentically into it. My heart for loving and serving others always was. And I was able to have success in certain pursuits in that area. I was an associate pastor for several years while doing insurance full time, and I was experiencing success towards the progression of either one of those goals of either becoming a pastor or owning my own insurance agency, taking it over from the family. But I knew for a fact that's not really. I would have never ultimately ended in each of those positions. So when I decided to start this business, I believe one of the things that truly led to my success is that when I created this business, whatever you call this business, was it the business of Podcast Answer Man? Was it the business of GSPN.TV? Was it the business of what I'm doing now, which is mentoring people, business mentorship or life coaching? I don't care what you call my personal brand online content creating business that has been around ever since I've been putting content online. This business that I have. I never formed this business to become famous. I never built this business to become wildly profitably, financially wealthy. I've never, by the way, having a little bit of fame has always had a bit of a desire in my heart, and I'm not going to kid you. I would love to have millions of subscribers to my YouTube channel. I would love to have hundreds of thousands of people subscribe to my podcast. I would love to have, 100,000 people following me in social media, millions of people following me in social media. There's a part of me that would love to walk around and walk into any public place and have people come up and recognize me and say, Cliff Ravenscraft, wow, can I get a selfie with you and tell you how much your content means to me? There's a part of me that I have that desire, but I never went into this business for that purpose. And yes, part of me would love to become financially wealthy to the point where I don't have to work. I just choose to. That I wake up in the morning, get up every single day, and I want to create some content or create a new product or service that's going to benefit somebody's life. But not because I need the money, but because that's what I'm compelled to do. And I believe that having various different products at different price points helps people invest in themselves and they take what they're doing more seriously, but also creating free content consistently, like this piece of content. All of that, I would love to be so financially wealthy that I don't need the money coming in from the product or services, but I still benefit from it, and I can use those resources not just to finally, meet all of the needs of my family, to feel a little bit more comfortable, but also to invest wisely and all these other things and all that good jazz. There's part of me that really would like that. And actually, I'm going to tell you that there is a part of me that is pursuing a little bit more fame. There's a part of me that's pursuing the desire to reach a bigger audience. That I'm not going to lie to you. Authentically, that is a part of my desire. I think it's actually a part of my design. I think maybe even God's put that in my heart to actually want to do things and take actions and steps to reach more people, because I believe I've been created to communicate a message to a large number of people. And I believe that's a part of my future. It's a vision that I have. But I do keep myself in check, and I try to make sure that it's not all about the fame. It's not all about my ego. It's not all about that stuff. And also, I do have plans, and I do have a desire to become financially wealthy to the place where I don't need these things. And, I'm pursuing a path and taking actions and intentional steps to generate more financial margin in my life. By the way, if you ever notice that I'm looking over here instead of at you, I do keep a check on the time. I'm at 19 minutes into this video now, so that's why I keep looking over every now and then, if you're wondering. So, but why did I get into this business? Why have I been successful to this point? Why is it that I've been so blessed to have the relationships in my life that most people would kill to have? And that's a horrible analogy, but most people have such a desperate desire to be so well connected to so many amazing human beings on this earth who are doing life at such an incredible level, and people like Dan Miller, Ray Edwards, Michael Hyatt, and I could name some other really incredible people in my life who are wildly successful, who are very intentional about who they do life with, understanding that their life is the average of the 5 people they most spend the time with. And so how is it that I got into those circles of relationships where these people are my personal friends? How is it that I've been able to get to the place where I am financially today? Is it all of the business knowledge and know-how that I contain? Is it my voice? Is it my ability to teach? What is it about me? And I'm going to tell you, I think that there's a part of it that when I ask myself these questions and I evaluate my own success and where I am today, I think it all comes down to what drove me to want to be a pastor. And then it's what drove me to find the success that I had as an insurance agent until I discovered that there was a better way, a more effective way for me to live more fully alive into my purpose and calling in life. And that is the content creator in me. And that, what is that one piece of the puzzle? And I believe it is my unwavering desire to love and serve others. My unwavering desire to love and serve others. So, a couple different things that I want to share with you. I recently heard in a podcast somebody talk about, well, I won't go into all the details because it's not important that I criticize anybody else and what they said, and I don't need it to lead back to them. But I heard this language, and you've heard it before. It's the idea of businesses that are focused on turning cold leads into sales. And I totally get that. I come from a business background. I understand as an insurance agent what a cold lead is and how do you turn as an insurance agent, believe it or not, there are so many sales techniques that I know are effective, that I've been taught, that I could use effectively in my business. I choose not to. Intentionally choose not to, because I do think they're a little sleazy and I think they're a little bit overbearing and stuff like that. And some of those are limiting beliefs. But the thing is one of the techniques that I did not like in my sales training as an insurance agent was this idea of buying a list of cold leads. And these are names and phone numbers, and you pick up the phone and you make cold calls. And you just talk, and you've got a script and you try to talk people into buying your product or service. And I'm like, listen, this ain't for me. I'll do it for your sales training course. I'll force myself to do it. I'll do all of your activities. I'll win your awards. But as soon as I leave this 2-week sales training course on turning cold leads into sales, I promise you this, I will not use that method to sell insurance. It's just not who I am. That's not how I do things. And the thing is I understand the language behind turning cold leads into sales, but I don't like the language at all. I understand what it means. What I prefer to think of is I think of, in my business, I never want to talk about cold leads. How do I get them to buy? How do I get a cold lead into a shopping cart and to convert into a sale? Because there's no such thing as a cold lead. What is a cold lead? A cold lead happens to be a warm-blooded human being, an individual with their own hopes, fears, dreams, anxieties, worries, passions, joys, experiences. A cold lead is a human being. It's a person. So why call them a cold lead? How about we talk about in business, how is it that I can take somebody who has no idea who I am and what I have to offer as a business and get to the place where I can gain their attention and give them valuable insight and information that will benefit their lives for free without expecting anything in return, knowing that a good number of them will come to know, like, and trust me. And if they come to know, like, and trust me and believe that I have a product or service and I've been able to convince them to make a decision to buy my product or service because I believe confidently and I have communicated clearly that buying my product or service is going to be a decision that if you make it, your life will be better. That's the language I would prefer to use. All right. So I'm not going to harp on that one too long. Let me tell you another piece of language that I hear a lot in business, especially in our internet marketing. I've heard people say, hey, when it comes to your mailing list, when you go out and you send out all this free content to people on your mailing list and you're sending them valuable stuff that's encouraging them, giving them educational bits and pieces and stuff like that, the whole purpose of doing that is so that you can warm them up for the sale. And I don't mind the intention of having, a progression that actually does get people to come to know, like, and trust what you have to offer, that gives them more insight into the products and services and gives them more clarity about how your product and service could serve them. And by making a decision to buy your product, it could make their lives better. I have no problem with that. But I have the problem with where the ends justify the means. The whole thing, the reason why I'm doing what I am doing is to make the sale. Although I get that to make the sale equals to benefit people's lives. To make the sale for me is defined as causing them to make a decision to purchase a product that is going to benefit their lives. And so yes, that's a valuable and worthy pursuit. But what about those who don't believe yet that your product or service meets their needs? What if you're not able to convince them yet? If they're not willing yet to, or ever, to buy your product or service, are they still worthy of your time, effort, and attention, your empathy, your free content? Are they still worthy of it? Are they still worthy of continuing to pay to have them on your list? And the reason why I ask that question is because oftentimes people are creating these mailing lists and they send out all this valuable free content, but every now and then they'll send out a message that is a call to action, a sales pitch, if you will, asking somebody to buy. And then people get really freaked out when they see that 30, 60, 80, 100 people unsubscribed from your mailing list when you send out that message. And you know what? I agree with the fact that you shouldn't let that bother you. You need to be able to have some thick skin in this area, and you need to just move forward. But I do not agree with this language of, oh, don't worry about that. Those people are not your community. Those people would have never purchased from you anyway. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a second. If they're not going to buy, then they're not worth it it's not worth paying to have them on your list. First of all, how much does it really cost to have somebody on your list? One person on your list. Not a lot in the grand scheme of things. And if you have products and services that are well priced and are valuable for that price, and you're effective in actually selling to the people who do buy, then do you or do you not have enough margin to actually pay for some of those people who are not yet warmed up to the idea of what you have is going to add value to their lives? Or what about just to pay for, to be able to have the margin financially to help pay for things for people who may never buy your product or service, but yet you're still having a powerful, profound, positive impact in their lives through the free content that you would create had they, and that they would benefit from had they not unsubscribed from your list. And so while you shouldn't be worried about it, I agree with that. But at the same time, you might want to ask yourself, well, is there a way that I could have worded the call to action? Is there a way that I could have filtered my list so that maybe that call to action didn't actually go out to people who just signed up for my mailing list within the last 14 days? Because if you think about it, I'm all for putting a very strong sales pitch, a very strong call to action to the people that you're consistently serving on a regular basis. By the way, have you gone to Free the Dream, freethedream.live to sign up yet? I'm going to pause for just a second. I see that I'm hitting almost 29 minutes here. So as a result of that, I need to switch over to a new file so that I can stitch these together. Hold on. Okay, and we're back. So what did I say? Have you gone to Free the Dream? I do believe that Free the Dream Conference is a weekend, an environment that I believe it will have a radical, profound impact on your life. I'm going to tell you confidently, I can say this with full confidence, authenticity. I do believe that if you come to Free the Dream Conference in Franklin, Tennessee on September 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2018, I believe that after that weekend, for the rest of your life, you will look back at that weekend as a turning point. And that doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of your journey, whether you're in the earliest days of just, I don't even know what my dream is, Or if you are as far along as I am, I'm going to tell you right now, I am going to be a student at Free the Dream. I will be learning from those who will be speaking that I've invited to speak. And yes, I have personal relationships with them, but I know there are going to be things that are going to be communicated in that environment that will not be recreated in any other way, shape, or form. And the relationships that are going to be formed and how that all comes together, that weekend event is going to be massively influential in my own life. And I believe it will be for you as well. So go to freethedream.live, freethedream.live. Register for your seat today. Reserve your seat right now. I promise you, it will. The conference will not change your life. You will change your life, but this conference will unlock some hidden potential that's already there inside of you, and I promise you that. If not, email me after the conference. I will give you your money back. All right. I don't have money back guarantee on this website, but just refer back to this vlog episode and I'll give you your money back. Or you don't even have to refer to it. So just email me afterwards. Cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Dude, I came to your conference. I did not necessarily see the value. I'd like my money back, and I'll give it to you. No, you don't have to explain why. I just, whatever. So, but anyway, I'm cool with I'm okay with giving you guys that call to action. But the thing is if I'm going to give a really hard sales pitch to my mailing list, I believe that I can send such a strong call to action for people who have had the opportunity to get to know, like, and trust me, to get a feel for who I am, what I have to offer, the way that, and by the way, I'm totally fine with people who have been on my mailing list. They've been testing the waters to see who this Cliff Ravenscraft is, and I just don't resonate with them. They just like, listen, it's just his message, the way he talks. He's just not for me, and I may not be for those people. And those people, I don't worry about unsubscribing from my list. In fact, I think it's a great thing that they've unsubscribed from my list, because I'm not the person for them. But I don't like this language of saying, don't worry about them because, well, they would have never bought from you anyway. They were just costing you money. See, that goes to this, is your business really based on loving and serving others? And despite whether or not they would ever buy from you. All right? I create this vlog content. I don't expect every single one of you to buy a product or service from me at one point down the road. I don't expect anything from you, but I do hope and pray. I say, God, please send me people that do resonate with this message, that their lives will be benefited. And yes, God, I understand right now I am in a place where I do kind of need to be generating some income. And so, yes, that actually does help me as well. And I understand that's a part of my motivation. But dear Lord, please don't let this overshadow the real reason why I'm in business, which is to love and serve other people. All right, so I don't like the language of turning cold leads into sales. I don't like the language of don't worry about people who unsubscribe from your mailing list because they would have never bought from you anyway and they're just costing you money. By the way, I don't think you should be overly concerned by people unsubscribing from your mailing list. There are other reasons why you shouldn't be concerned, but it shouldn't be because they don't matter. All right? Let's see here. Here's a quote, and it's an affirmation that I try to remember. People don't care how much you know or what you have to say until they know for a fact that you like them. Or another way you could say it, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. People are not interested in how much education you have. They don't care how much valuable insight and wisdom you have. They don't care any of that stuff until they know that you actually genuinely care. Now, does that fit for everything everywhere? I mean, my wife and I, when we go to the store, at least once a month, we're probably buying a Scrub Daddy. You know, the number one product ever, number one most profitable product from Shark Tank, the Scrub Daddy, the little sponge thing. My wife buys a Scrub Daddy. I don't know if that guy cares about the people who buy his product or service. I don't know if it's just, I can't remember the guy's name. And so are there businesses where you're going to buy somebody's products and services, whether you know or not, they care? Yeah, I'm sure that this doesn't apply to every business out there, but man, in a business where I believe that if you are somebody who genuinely cares, I think it makes a difference. And certainly if you're a personal brand, certainly if you're a content creator, oftentimes people ask me, Cliff, do you think everyone should have a podcast? Or do you think everyone should be creating YouTube content or video content? And I say, no, absolutely not. And they're like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah. I said, I believe some people have a lot of value to offer this world, but quite frankly, their main purpose for creating their business is to create a wildly, massively scalable product that millions of people will buy, and genuinely they're not concerned and have very little thought or care about any of the people, or at least most of the people, or a majority of the people that actually buy their product or service. It's just like if they can't be bothered by getting involved in social media. Ain't nobody got time for answering anybody's email, and stuff like that. And I think that if you don't have a genuine love for serving and helping people, I think that comes through. And I think that you'd be better off writing books or writing a blog, because I think you can hide a little bit of your lack of genuine interest, care, and concern and love for serving others just by writing content. But I think that if you come out with audio or video content, your heart, it communicates, and people can tell whether or not you're authentic. And I think that's again, the fact that I started this business, the focus of my business is to love and serve others, has led to a lot of the success that I have. And so I want to encourage you, love and serve others. Let that be the basis. I could, serving other people without expecting anything in return, it's a hallmark of my business. I do pour into people. I do pour into some people with the intention that I would love to convince this person, and sometimes I do intentionally go out of my way if I know somebody is on the fence about making a decision. But it's because my belief in a sale is that I believe that if I can convince them to make this decision to buy my product or service, I honestly, authentically, genuinely, confidently believe that them doing so is going to make their lives better in some way, shape, or form. I believe that the value is there, and that the value that they will get from the product or service is greater than what they'll pay for it. And so, yeah, I do go out of my way. But when I invest my time, effort, and energy in somebody who's been on the fence for 2 or 3 weeks, and then ultimately they eventually come around and say, Cliff, I'm sorry, I've given it a lot of thought, but it's just not for me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not signing up for the Next Level Mastermind. I'm not coming to the Next Level Workshop. I'm not going to sign up for what used to be Podcasting A to Z. I'm not coming to Free the Dream Conference. I appreciate all that you've done. Do I get mad about that? No. I hope that I served those people, and that through all of the things that I did to try to help them make that decision, I still hope that what I did during those 30-minute calls, or those short little video messages that I've sent via text message, attachments and stuff I hope that that's been encouraging to them, that I've helped at least them have some shifts in their mindset that has benefited their lives, that will carry out throughout the rest of their lives. And I don't care if that ever comes back to me in any way. I have no expectations. I do have sometimes some hope that it will, but it's serving others without expecting anything in return. This is another affirmation that comes from a great friend of mine. He's since passed away, David Foster. He says, observing how you treat other people will tell you, let's see here, let me just read it to you. Observing how you treat other people tells more about your relationship with God than it does about them. So this has to do with, prospects, customers, people in your community. When they reach out to you, when they say mean and nasty things about you, when they do things to harm you, whether it's intentional or not, whether they do things that interfere with your plans, whatever it is, whatever people do to you, it's how you treat them in response. How I choose to respond and how I treat people in my community, whether they be prospects, customers, or just people who are just community people that I don't even see as a prospect or a customer. but just people that interact with me that in my day-to-day life through the comments that I get, through some of the content that I create, how I treat those people, I authentically believe how I treat those people says more about my relationship with God than it does those people. So if somebody's done something against me and I treat them and I respond to them and I treat them in a way that I'm angry with them, that has very little to do with them, and it has a lot to do with where I'm at in my relationship with God. And I do believe that. In fact, I don't have it written in my notes for this vlog episode, but I have another quote. I think it's oh gosh, it was there a second ago and now it's just left. If your religion doesn't radically alter the way you treat people, then you need a new religion. If your religion does not radically alter the way that you treat people, you need a new religion. So I'll leave you with one. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll leave you with one more quote. A lot of these are affirmations. Another one is, I expand in abundance, success, and love every day as I inspire and encourage, I'm adding that right now, to do the same. So I expand in abundance, success, and love as I inspire and encourage others to do the same. That's what my business is. That's the foundation of everything I do in life. It is the foundation of my business to love and serve others. Yes, I'll admit, I'd love to reach millions of people. Yes, I'll admit, I'm taking actions to get me closer to that, although I'm trying to balance it with humility and not obsessing over that, and trusting that God, maybe you'll just help out the process. But I want to be involved in that process, and I'm willing to do my part. Just make that plan available to me. And if I can see another action that's going to help me get there in a way that allows me to continue to put my desire to love and serve others first in my business, then I'll take those steps. And the same thing has to do with pursuing even greater financial margin in my life. Getting to the place where my ultimate goal is to get to the place where, to be quite frank with you, I don't have to work another day in my life. Financially, I'm taken care of. That is my goal. But I still want to work every day that I live. I hope that God, if you're willing, I'd love to be 90. I'd love to be 104 years old. And I'd love to get up at age 104 and get up in the morning on a nice, cool summer day and go out for a 50-mile bike ride and come back and record some YouTube content or whatever platforms exist back then. Maybe jump into the HoloTube or something. Jump into the virtual reality space and do a virtual online conference for 5 million people inside of virtual reality. I don't know what's going to happen when I'm 105 if I live that long. But despite the fact that I'll never need money and I don't have to sell products and services, I just pray that I would be able to always be able to devote my life to creating content and also products and services that entertain, educate, encourage, and inspire other people, and specifically with the purpose of helping them to become more of who God created them to be. In essence, I want to be devoting my life to EOTC, encouraging others through Christ. And that is for me to have that relationship with God that allows me to always make sure I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do, and that is to love and serve others, to contribute. And to do that, I always have to be growing. I always have to be learning. I always have to be taking new things in so that I can actually become that person that God wants me to be. That's what I encourage you guys to do. Build a business that is based upon loving and serving others. Care about others. Reach out to others. And yes, there comes a time, and there will come a time where I will no longer be able to respond to every comment. There will be a time when I can't respond to every email. There will be a time when I can't shake everybody's hand. There will be a time when I can't take a selfie with everyone who wants to take a selfie in big, huge crowds of people. There will be a time when, I got to tell you, I stress about that. But there will be a time when, there could be a time, and part of me, I believe there will be a time that my time will come, that I will have that audience in the millions, and you know, I not arrogantly, I just sometimes maybe even reluctantly, but yet intentionally. How do you anyway? You get to. I'm gonna end this thing. I think I've said enough. Build a business based upon loving and serving others. Watch your language. It's not about cold leads, turning them into sales. People who unsubscribe from your list, don't get too overly concerned about it, but actually do care about those people. And is there anything you could have done, and maybe you can change your approach next time to reduce the number of people who are going to continue to benefit from the free content, who may still never buy from your product or service, but you could still have a profound and positive impact on people's lives. I care about people, love them, serve them. That's it. Until next time, my friends. Oh, one more call to action. freethedream.live. freethedream.live. Go and buy a ticket today. Get your seat. And if you seriously, I mean, really, you are not able to be there physically, buy a virtual ticket. Look on the sales page, search really hard. You'll find the virtual ticket option, and it will give you access to all of the recordings from that event, and it'll also give you access to something called the practice sessions. There's more information about that on the sales page, freethedream.live. freethedream.live. I'll hope to see you in Franklin, Tennessee on September 7th, 8th, and 9th. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do, including your loving and serving others, to the next level. Okay, I'm going to end this thing. Bye-bye.